Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. He will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Continuing to address the topic of abortion from the federal level is nothing more than you pandering to those who are pro-abortion. Now, when I say pro-abortion, it isn't a mistake. There aren't only 2 schools of thought, there are 3. Pro-life, pro-choice, and pro-abortion. You, the far left, you lost Roe v. Wade for all those Americans you claim to try to protect by going too far with your desire to push later and later term abortion. The reaction for the right was to respond. And now abortion at the federal level, it's not on the menu. You claim to want to protect women's bodies. I'm curious, though, does that desire extend to the young women like Lake and Riley who were raped and slain by the illegals you invited into the country? Did they have a say? Did their parents have a say? I think not. The only people who can push abortion agenda happen to still be alive. They were kept alive by their mothers, and thank God for the women who chose to keep us all. Everyone watching at home, thank your great mom. It is more relevant, though, a conversation to address adoption. I would propose we reimagine our adoption crisis in this country, incentivize a woman carrying a baby rather than relieving herself of it. And finally, the American people are a coat of many colors, and to dictate to them how they want to deal with this topic from the top down, well, that's against the will of the Republic of the United States of America. Not all states, cities, and countries are created the same. And now this issue of abortion is in their hands. Most pushing this agenda, well, guess what? Already live in a state like California and New York, where abortion, for those who still want it, remains an option. So how about instead of making the American public believe that you can do anything on this topic whatsoever from the presidential level, knowing it's impossible, like you did when you vowed to wipe college debt, or like you did in California promising reparations, never introducing it, why don't you instead just admit that the Democrats who held office, like Clinton, Obama, Biden, and you, Kamala, could have at any time codified Roe v. Wade, but you didn't do it because then your biggest talking point would be gone. And you'd have to actually do some real presidential work to get reelected.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. Some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate came up with a border security bill, which I supported. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Now, I believe you were tasked to ensure that we allowed as many illegal immigrants from all over the world into our country. The far left likely has given you an award for a job well done. However, the American people who were suffering, the African American and the Latina communities set aside by this massive unwanted influx, are outraged. The veterans in this country who lost the VA HUD-VASH funds are suffering with a 19% rise in veteran homelessness. This bill you wanted passed, well, that would still have allowed for 1.8 million illegal crossings. I wonder, though, how you were going to suddenly shut down and have less crossers, stop marketing to them, stop inviting them, stop paying them. Now, I wonder if it was so important, why didn't you decide to close it while you were in office? I mean, why didn't your boss? I mean, you were the border czar and you didn't visit the border. If you had, you would realize that your talking points aren't seated in the truth. I know that part is very difficult for you. The truth is the border agents are told not to stop them. They're told to sort and process them and send them to wherever we pay for a plane ticket. Now, you presided over the largest national security threat in the nation's history, and you have the audacity to look the American public in the face and try to impress them with your past prosecutorial job, the one where you locked up young brown and black men and essentially, through Prop 47, made crime legal in your home state of California. Well done. No one watching believes that you care for the kids who died from foreign drugs. No one believes you care for those mothers and young women killed by illegals. What they do believe is that they were safer during my administration and that they will be safe again when I win in November.
I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
Yeah, I did say that. And so have millions of Americans. They are saying it because Kamala herself said that she was Indian. I mean, proud to be Indian, I think. And now to pander to the African American voters, she would like you to believe that she's half black. Well, her father's Indian, who happened to live in Jamaica. So we're all a little bit confused here, but pretending to make collard greens in your bathtub, inviting an artist to twerk on your stage, well, that did not connect you with the African American community. It only embarrassed you, quite frankly, and set you at odds with them. Now, you're running on change, and I would agree, changing your accent to suit you. Even Bernie Sanders let his inside voice outside, and he said that you would literally say anything to get elected. Thanks, Bernie. Appreciate you. He should have said that you would do anything or anyone, as Willie Brown alluded to. Now, you changed a safe nation into a national security risk at all-time high levels. You changed the economy from a dollar to a dime. Your running on change is like Barack Obama running on hope. Now, the African American community that you're so good at pandering to, they can't afford any more hope. And they can't buy much with the change that they have left because of your administration. They don't want to be pandered to. They want someone to stand up and defend their position. You see, this race card thing is the only thing other than abortion that you even have to talk about. Now, I've stripped you, I think, of the abortion argument, and with this, I'm about to strip you of the race argument. I have, for my life's work, gone out of my way to reform the criminal justice system. African American unemployment was at an all-time low under my administration. I'm endorsed by many amazing African American leaders, artists, and figures who don't come and twerk on my stage. I would say, until I ran for president, I was beloved by the African American community. Even Oprah and Whoopi Goldberg, they used to love me. Now, I, Donald J. Trump, have done and always will do what's best for the American public. No matter what, I am not a racist man.